tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Woo! I need some dancing people. I would like to see some. Yes, that's right. Hello, everybody out there. Thank you so much for joining us. You have come upon the AFTERBUZZ TV Total Divas After Show. You can stop now, George, but I appreciate the effort. If you are joining us via podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud, you are missing some crazy dance moves. Make sure you head over to youtube.com/AFTERBUZZ-TV and subscribe to us. We are going to break down episode number 9, season 4. This one was called Boom! Clash of the Divas. Yes. And it was pretty juicy, if I do say so myself. So if you are joining us on iTunes and SoundCloud, we appreciate a 5-star rating. Please leave some comments and let us know what you think about the show, what you think about our show. We love to hear from you. And actually, we've got our live chat roll going right now. So if you have joined us via YouTube, then we're chatting with you. Tell us what you think about the show, your opinion on the topics that we're going to discuss. We like to interact with you.
Who are you, by the way?
I was just about to get there when I was so rudely interrupted. But thank you, George. My name is Christy Olson, and you guys can all keep up with me personally. I appreciate it, at Christy Reports. And make sure you hashtag along with the Total Divas crew using hashtag ABTV Total Divas. Then we can read your tweets on the air. I think that about does it for me. I'm done for a minute. Why don't you guys go?
No? All right. Hey, guys. I'm Paulina Aguilar. Follow me on Twitter at _Paulina Aguilar and on Instagram at Paulina M. Aguilar.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, George.
Hi, I'm George. I was expecting like a hi, George, but whatever. And you can follow me.
We don't do that here, Hermoza.
Whatever, Olson. You can follow me at Hermoza on Twitter and on Instagram because, well, why not? Why not?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
The road to 300, right?
The road to 400, thank you very much.
That's
maybe
right.
I need to start that.
Yeah.
It's working for you very well.
Well, hopefully.
It's all thanks to the Total Divas After Show, I'm sure.
Let's get into this.
Hashtag the road to 400 followers.
Yes. Well, before we roll into that, people want to follow you because you are the WWE Encyclopedia.
So they say.
I
don't
say.
call myself that because if obviously you said it.
No.
You
We're
can't
giving
give your
you that
own nickname.
distinction.
Yeah,
it's okay. So tell everybody out there about this really cool documentary that our buddy James made that's coming out and where they can find it.
I'm not just a WWE fan. I'm a professional wrestling / sports entertainment fan.
Yeah.
I mean, not just WWE. I follow, TNA, Ring of Honor. I follow Lucha Underground, but I don't get the channel. But obviously, locally here in LA, we have PWG, and some of the local talent from PWG is the Young Bucks, who this young team, obviously definitely influenced by the old school teams like the Rockers, the Rock and Roll Express, the Hardy Boys, and I mean, these guys, if you ever seen these guys wrestle, these guys are truly, I'm not even saying this.
Yeah, everybody's talking about them right now.
Like, amazing. Rumor has it that WWE's been knocking on the door, but they like not having to settle down with the WWE because they're all over Japan. They travel all over the country, all over the world. But there's actually a documentary called The Young Bucks, Too Sweet Journey. And paper got stuck. That our buddy James, who was actually engineering that, made. Such a great guy, first off, James is, but obviously he followed the Young Bucks.
Yeah, he put a lot of work into this, and it's a really awesome documentary with a lot of juicy stuff. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, but you're a Total Divas fan, this kind of gives an insight into what these guys go through.
And it's not even that, too, not just about wrestling. It's just about, you see their family life, just how their bond is, because they are brothers, just how their bond, just a great family documentary, not just about wrestling, but you can make it about the wrestling.
Yeah, it's about chasing dreams. So tell everybody where they can get it.
They can get it on highspots.com.
I love it. Digital download, or you can order your copy.
I got the DVD, actually, so
we're kind of special here.
Yeah, I don't need the internet to watch it. But
so everybody go and check out the documentary Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks,
Too Sweet Journey. Good stuff. And now let's roll into our Total Divas for this evening. Like we said, this was kind of a juicy one. We saw Paige getting in trouble. We saw a whole new side to Daniel Bryan that I have to say I didn't care for too much.
Really?
But we kind of kicked it all off with Natty. Well, actually, we saw the Bella twins, and we'll get to that. But Natty, TJ, Jenny is still around, and they all go shopping. They've hit up this furniture store, and Jenny has quite an opinion for someone who's not buying and not owning the home and isn't really a permanent, expected, wanted guest.
No.
What did you guys think about this furniture shopping?
Team TJ.
Oh,
Team
hey.
TJ. I think she was too involved as far as like, oh, I would love this chandelier. I would love this tiger. I would love this. No, that doesn't look good in your office. No, don't get that chair because I'm not going to sit on it. And like, no, this is not your house. Be grateful that he's letting you stay there. You know, get your life together and move on out.
I agree.
That's how I say it.
I'm on Team TJ as well as far as this is my home, so please don't tell me how to fix my home that I purchased with my or maybe my spouse's money as well. So if you're a guest, you know, just be a guest. You know, if you want to make a suggestion, that's fine.
Be a quiet guest.
Yeah, but yeah, this is my home. So I've always liked TJ as far as those little comments that he makes. Those little.
I think they're hilarious because that's something I would totally say.
Manisms? Is that what they are?
I'd say quietly under his breath, but he doesn't say quietly under his breath. He says it, you know,
straight up,
not quietly, whatever the quiet, loudly over his breath, which I love. So because sometimes it does need to be said.
Yeah, and they really got into it in the scene in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And well, actually, Natty made a big deal out of it, and I was like, well, that was a fairly quiet argument, but they really got into it nonetheless.
And it almost went way overboard with the whole proposal comment and then the whole you need to leave comment. I was like, oh, man.
Well, she has to let this proposal thing go. First of all, if Natty doesn't have a problem with it, you shouldn't either.
Yeah.
And second of all, who cares? So over. That was like 3 seasons ago, Jenny. Get over it.
Natty and your husband's sister came and moved in, how would you handle it? No, sorry, I said that the wrong way. If you were Natty and your sister came in.
Hypothetically speaking.
If my sister was Jenny,
hypothetically speaking, of course,
we're not talking about my sister-in-law anymore. Okay, good. You know what? I think that Natty should have known from the get-go, and she did. She admitted that this wasn't going to be a good situation. That's why she wasn't admitting to TJ that she was going to let Jenny stay. And I'm not really surprised by the way this has unraveled. And I was sort of saying the whole time, why doesn't Jenny just go live with Mommy and Daddy?
Those are her words.
Because they live close as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Natty tries to do a good thing for her and sets her up with Big E, who
and backfires.
Backfires, but he's kind of a big, sexy guy.
I think it's funny because, like, Natty's describing Big E, you know, somebody who's voluptuous, who's round, who's curvy, and she says, and I quote, "just my type." Which, by the way, Big E and Tyson Kidd couldn't look more opposite than one another.
That's a good point.
And I'm like, oh my god, like, in every single way. I just thought that was funny. It's like, oh, that's just my type. Well,
if a woman described you, George, as voluptuous, would you take that as a compliment?
I think so. And voluptuous in what department?
Oh, okay, you would need more specifics.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
A different kind of show.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think I kind of expected Big E to be a gentleman. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a powerhouse in the ring, but he seems a little bit more soft-spoken. He's got a great personality, a great sense of humor, and I kind of couldn't wait to see how he would be on a date. You know, and he was the way we expected. Like, he was giving her compliments.
He brought her flowers.
That was a major move.
You need to work on that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why you don't get in the hot tub at the end of the night, George. Sorry about it.
Good thing I'm voluptuous.
But they do go back to Natty and TJ's house, and they do hop in the hot tub with a bottle of champagne.
Awkward.
Which is not exactly what Natty intended.
No, that's awkward.
What was she intending?
Well, I feel like she made several suggestions to them. Yeah, the Big E, she was like, you live 20 minutes away, right? That's really close.
But obviously, like, she was definitely trying to get them to do stuff because she's sitting there already thinking ahead, and then she get out of my house, and then we can be married. It's like, oh, do you want your last name to be Neidhart, by the way? And it's like, she's already thinking way, which, by the way, don't forget that she tried to hook her up with Carano first.
Yeah, poor Mark Carano. Like, I feel like when he sees Natty in the hallway, he must just turn around and run the other way, like, as fast as he can.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people
trouble
do that.
Last week too. I mean, his face when she was talking about setting him up.
He was like almost offended.
Right?
He seemed offended.
That poor guy, everything that they put him through. And this was not the only uncomfortable situation that we saw Mark Carano in this evening. But if you guys don't have anything else to say about Natty and TJ and Jenny, I'm ready to roll that storyline up and throw it out the window.
I'm sure it'll come up. I mean, but at the same time, like I said, I felt so bad for TJ because she's bringing up things that doesn't need to get brought up, and then she gets mad at him for responding. Like, oh, are you expecting him to just roll over and do nothing?
And he's being very patient.
Yeah, like he's not raising his voice, which I can relate to. And then she's like, well, why you're overacting? He's not. He's kind of being very, very soft-spoken, if anything.
Mm-hmm. He could have said a lot more.
That's true. He sat there and ate his Chipotle, like Natty said. Was that a couple weeks ago when the quote was all the guys want to do is sit around and eat Chipotle?
I'm kind of curious. Like, they never really said anything after that, whether it's how the date went afterwards. Obviously, they ended up in the hot tub. I mean, who knows what can happen. Obviously, the cameras couldn't show, that stuff, if it did happen or not. But I thought it was just kind of weird that they never followed up on it. They never said,
no.
Maybe reality TV means that nothing did happen. Mm-hmm. Then maybe this kind of fizzled away.
I scoured the internet for an update on this. I thought maybe Natty would have said something. Jenny herself doesn't have a Twitter account, so no evidence there. And Natty didn't say anything. I thought maybe she would be like, oh, they had a great time, but they're not seeing each other, or yes, they're still going strong. And she didn't say anything at all. I always feel like no news is like bad news.
It
like
did
maybe
kind
that
of
was
look like to me that they had some good chemistry.
It did seem that way.
Jenny was wearing, by the way, Big E and Jen E. I don't know. Maybe it fits. But she was wearing a very 60s, casual shirt.
And his shirt was very 70s.
I don't know, meant to be.
They're made for each other.
That's okay. So you guys aren't going to be surprised if you hear that they've been going strong for 6 months or whatever it may be?
I would love it. I honestly, based on what I've seen tonight, I want to see more Big E on Total Divas.
All the guys are hilarious.
They really are.
Husbands and boyfriends, they're just funny.
Well,
I didn't like Vinny at first, but he grew on me a lot. Mostly because I feel bad for him now.
Oh, Ariane's Vinny?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon.
Wait, why?
But, well, I mean, we don't see a whole lot of her.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But we did see her this evening.
Speaking of Ariane.
Let's talk about that for a moment, shall we? Now, I think everybody knows by this point, this started with Paige. And I'm not unvocal about my opinion about Paige, which is that she tries a little bit too hard to put on this badass,
persona.
Bad girl, I'm really tough thing going on. And I think it's pretty forced. So this whole scene with the motorcycles, and we're going to go be badass B words, which again, dropping the B word too much for me. It just seems a little forced. It's like, okay, Paige, we get it. You want to wear leather. You want to ride a motorcycle. You're a badass. Yes, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I can't anymore. You guys go.
Well, I'm a big fan of motorcycles. First of all, I just want to say they are fun. I can't find a bike that will fit my stature. That's the problem. My dad rides, so I ride with him, and it is...
Oh, that's fun.
It is therapy. I love it. So when I finally find a bike that will fit me, I will be getting my license. But so, I mean...
See, but you're like a real badass. You're like a real tough chick.
I guess you can say that. I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you.
You got hurt playing softball.
It was not my fault.
Well, whose fault was it then?
The person who hit me with the ball. That's what's fault.
I'm gonna give her that one.
Maybe they should learn how to throw.
You should have moved out of the way.
I would. Okay, no. Moving on.
All right. So next time Paige goes motorcycle shopping, she should give you a call, huh?
Yes, exactly. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with Ariane and the fighting and all that stuff. I think she should have been a better teacher, to be honest. And I don't think not everybody can carry that quality though, as well. To be a teacher, you need to be patient and be able to give feedback. And I'm a big fan of harsh criticism. Exactly. And so I would have been okay with that, but I mean, it didn't look like Ariane was trying to...
Well, I don't know why they would ask Paige to take on this role in the first place. But this is something that happens, or what do you think, George? Was this just for a storyline? Like, would they send Paige to the Performance Center to train Ariane?
I think so, because even Daniel Bryan said, as great as he is, he's the first one to say, I'm not really that great of a teacher. So obviously, if they would ask him, I mean, why... Some people just maybe aren't meant to teach.
But does this happen a lot with the wrestlers? Like, Do you think this was legit?
I mean, I would think no, just because they have their own specific trainers, and you saw, if anything, they showed a lot of camera time for Sarah Amato, who is the head trainer, not the head, or one of the head trainers in the Performance Center.
Talk about your tough
pretty
chick.
much responsible for probably the fantastic women's division that's pretty much going to be the future, hopefully. But yeah, so I thought it was kind of puzzling that they asked Paige out of everyone, like, why her? I get she has the experience. Maybe that's why, but but also at the same time, if you're going to ask Paige to do that, and then this is somebody who has been wrestling for 10 years and came from a family of wrestlers, so you know she probably had it tough as far as the wrestling training goes. You got to know what you're getting into yourself if you're going to ask Paige as well. So
Bingo.
I don't exactly blame Paige for how she acted. In some ways, it was Carano's fault for saying, "Hey, let's get Paige. Why not get, I don't know,
Natty. Yeah.
But
That's
I
a good
feel
point.
like after that, I mean, you don't know until you try. So how are they supposed to know Paige isn't a good teacher unless they put her out there? Mm-hmm. And maybe after this, they're not going to ask her again. I mean, that makes sense.
I think you're probably right.
I probably would have gone with maybe like one of the Bella twins, to be honest. They have experience. They've been around for a while. Why not one of them? They are a veteran. I know Paige is very young, and I think that's part of my problem why I'm not a big of a fan of her.
She showed it tonight. She showed her immaturity.
And I've always had an issue with that, and that would not have been my first choice.
I really don't think it'd be that big of a deal if it was just them two. But I think maybe it was a big deal because there were so many, obviously to those people that were watching, the wrestling fans who just maybe are casual fans, there were a lot of unfamiliar faces in that, around that ring.
The girls that were training in NXT,
especially people that we don't really see on WWE, maybe still training in NXT or developmental. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was, where now Paige, who is this tough chick, and Ariane, who's been on the main roster for a while, maybe she got in trouble for maybe setting a bad example. Maybe that's what it was. Who knows? We didn't really get the full gist of it. But I don't know. It could be a number of different things. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't a legit kind of thing, not for the show, but kind of for the show. But again, I would have said more so just setting a bad example.
Well, we were also surprised that Ariane wasn't showing veteran skills in the ring. She couldn't do the roll-ups, which are very, very basic. I mean, I can't do one either, people, but I have tried. But that's very basic. It's something that someone who's been on the TV roster for years should certainly know how to do. And I thought that the trainer, this trainer is a powerhouse, but she probably wasn't around when Ariane was training. Right? Was that kind of borderline in the time-wise? Yeah, so she looked horrified by Ariane's skills.
And coming from experience, and obviously it was just for even though it was a 10-minute thing, we were there for 3 hours, but essentially that was kind of implied that was day one of training as far as the roles go. So for her not to maybe be able to do that correctly, it just kind of...
But that's why she's there. That's why she knew she needed to work on things.
But she's been on the roster for like 3 years already.
Then maybe they just made a mistake.
Maybe, I don't know.
They just said, "Hey, you know what? You're not ready. Let's send you go get some more training." And that's she knew that.
She did move up to the main roster pretty fast.
But seeing Ariane go into training with Paige, she didn't seem like she even wanted to be there.
No,
she looked lazy, and I don't even watch wrestling at all, but she looked lazy.
And you could tell.
Right, you could tell. And then, but at the same time, I wouldn't also have ratted on Paige either. I probably, if I wanted a different teacher that I wasn't working well with, I would have gone in a respective way, been like, hey, you know what? Paige is a great, wrestler, but I don't agree with her teaching skills, ways. And that at that point, I would like somebody else.
Get ready, everybody. I'm going to defend Ariane right now. Doesn't happen very often. But, oh, go ahead, James.
Real quick, Ariane was kicked off not this season at Tough Enough, but she was the first eliminated from last season at Tough Enough.
Oh, yeah.
So, if she still doesn't know how to roll, and she was on Tough Enough, and now she's been on the main roster for 3 years, she needs to get her stuff together.
That's a good point. She could kind of make those same claims as Eva, like, I didn't have the time and this and that. But no. You've been there, and you've had the time, and Tough Enough even. That's right. Ariane made a very poor showing on that show, people. If you missed that season and you're a fan of that show, go back and watch.
And don't get me wrong, the left front roll is a lot harder than it looks. Trust me, okay? Trust me.
Yeah.
With that said, if it's been 3 years, I would hope that I'd be pretty good at it.
in her defense, we never saw her go and tell on Paige or rat anybody out. I think it had more to do probably with the trainer and the people at the Performance Center saying, hey guys, you all need to know, this is what went down here today. And it was not cool.
And especially it's widely known that Triple H actually has access, has a camera feed in his office in Connecticut to the Performance Center at all times. So again, it's not so much I think they told, I think just everybody's watching and there's cameras everywhere. I think it was more so that I don't think Ariane just told. I think she's a tough girl too. She can probably take it as well as give it. So yeah.
Well, she got schooled by Natty and Nikki Bella, but before we get into that, I want to tell you guys about a really cool promotion that we're doing here at AfterBuzz TV. You know, we bring you these shows for free, and we're happy to do that. We're glad to be here for you, and we want you to know about Casper, the online retailer of premium mattresses. They sell them for just a fraction of the price. And they are obsessively engineered mattresses, you guys. That's kind of their thing. They're not just selling you run-of-the-mill. These are highly engineered. They're just the right sink, just the right bounce. I love to say that. There's 2 technologies to choose from. They've got latex foam and memory foam coming together for better night's sleep and brighter days. There's a risk-free trial and a risk-free return policy, so you can do this with no risk. Try sleeping on a Casper mattress for 100 days. That's with free delivery, of course, because we're hooking you up, and painless returns. These mattresses are also made in America, for those of you who that's important. At $500 for a twin-size mattress, at only, wow, $950 for a king-size mattress. Compared to industry averages, that is outstanding. It certainly is. And you can order one by visiting Casper.com, and we are giving you $50 off, people. That means that $900 mattress becomes, no wait, oh see, I won't try with the math. It'll be $900 for you, and you can get it by going to www.casper.com/AfterBuzz. That is www.com/AFTERBUZZ to get your $50 off a Casper mattress. You're welcome.
That's actually not that bad
Well said.
for a $950 or $900 king mattress.
Yeah, that's a good price now.
That's actually really not bad.
Right now.
George is going at it.
I'm thinking about that time I got bamboozled by the Macy's salesperson.
Oh no.
I
Sounds like a good
sounds
story
like a
and one we're not going to hear right
If
now.
I had just waited.
So,
Paige.
back to Paige
Back
and
to the little
her,
biker, the little
her
daredevil.
childish
Say
behavior.
how
Please
more
do.
of immaturity she showed at dinner with Nikki and Nat. And
Thank you. People are sick of hearing me say it.
Oh my goodness. No, that makes me not like her even more. I mean, here's the thing. A true friend is going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. And she just did not want to hear any of that. She walked out. She even got her food and she left that sitting there. No, and then Nikki found better words for her to, understand what she was trying to say. But
I mean, for Paige, after being told by Mark Carano, the head of talent relations, who's seen it all and done it all with these folks before, being told by Road Dogg, who is a seasoned vet, for those of you who don't know, big time wrestler in his day, to be told by those guys, like, cool your jets, you were wrong in this situation, and that she's still very adamant that she needs someone to back her up because she wasn't wrong and this is Ariane's fault. Like, come on.
No, first off, the first thing was the whole bike situation, the motorcycle, where she was riding.
Oh, that's what Carano was mad about first. You're right.
She
Strike one.
Although the pessimist in me thinks that was a stunt woman, but whatever. That's besides the point.
You pointed that out while we were watching, and we rolled it kind of back and watched again. And I love when they set stuff up and we figure that out and we point it out to the viewers. But I kind of think that this one was real.
I don't know.
I think it was real.
I mean, it just coincidentally, almost the whole time she has the visor up, and we can clearly see Paige's face. But the one time that she goes too fast and she falls, the visor was down. I don't know. That just may be the filmmaker in me just trying to think like, oh, what part of this is fake, or professional wrestling fan. But actually, I'm not one of those. But I don't know, just a part of me. And then obviously, like, and it's the thing, it's funny. The thing that told me more that I thought that was fake was Rose's face. Go back, watch Rose's face, and it just looks so like.
Like she's acting?
Yeah, I was like, you're not that good of you're not that good of an actress, Rosa. So that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird that Carano kind of gave her a talk because it's like, one, it is her body. It's not like she got really hurt. She looked fine, to be honest with you.
No, but had
aren't
she
they
taken that
kind
on
of-
the road?
And plus, too, like, who told on her?
That's a
Like,
good point.
yeah,
now,
and-
there, in that situation, somebody ratted somebody
Yeah,
out.
it's not like Carano was
Is
there.
it on social media?
Oh, that could be. No, I think when they're shooting stuff, they try to keep what they're actually shooting kind of under wraps so that it's a surprise for the fans.
Well, I was thinking of all the wrestlers out there, how many of them actually have a motorcycle license that they probably have that they don't know of, things like that.
That's what I was going to say.
And if I'm trying to get a motorcycle license, I probably wouldn't put it on film. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't be taping it. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know, I just thought it was weird.
Well, but are they sort of banned from doing things that will injure them?
I'm pretty sure there's
like motorcycle riding is highly risky.
Right, but I'm sure there's like a compromise line of what they can and cannot.
Isn't there a straight clause in their contract, George, that says like you will not compromise your body because it belongs to us now?
I'm sure there is, and it's funny coincidentally that there's I'm sure he's on this DVD. Jeff Hardy, who wrestled for another company, actually got hurt. He broke his leg doing a motorcycle like flip or accident thing, and then now he can't wrestle. And it does kind of suck that. So it does kind of make sense to put that kind of a clause in the contract saying, hey, we're investing a lot of money in you. Don't do something stupid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's officially in there, but I'm sure there's something that, even if it's not in there, I'm sure it's very much so implied by talent relations and Triple H and Vince and everybody. So
it's a common clause in professional athletics for sure, like for the basketball players and those kind of people. So it wouldn't be a surprise. Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't. The only thing that kind of irked me was it didn't look that bad as far as how we saw it, and she looked fine. She was walking around fine, and it's like I don't know. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal for Carano to be like, oh hey, by the way, that's dumb what you just did. I get it. I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
But again, because she told this grandiose story about how I love to live on the side of danger, and I crashed my car once, and then when she crashed the motorcycle, it reminded her of how she crashed her car, and she was thoroughly traumatized by it.
She didn't crash it; she just fell.
That is a great point, Paulina. So true.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that she approached. I'm sorry, what was his name? Where she got strike 2.
Oh,
Road
yeah,
Dog.
that was
Road Dog.
Yes,
like
Road Dog.
Like,
yes,
you're my Road Dog. Got
Yep.
it. I did not like
2
the way
G's,
that
if I'm not mistaken.
approached him,
What?
because if I'm approaching my boss of why I'm not working that day, it's not going to be like, oh hey, is it because of this? I'd be like, oh hey, can you tell me why?
or
I'm
just
not
want to make
on the
sure
roster?
everything's okay.
Yeah,
or...
did I do something wrong? Otherwise, you're just snitching on yourself.
I did think it was kind of weird. Like, wait, so hold on. You think the writers completely changed up everything just because of some incident you might have had with Ariane? Really?
Somebody's feeling a little self-important.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe like insecure as well. Like, really, you really think that's going to happen because of that? Like, relax. You're in the middle of a storyline. We're not going to completely dump everything because of this,
And that's how she got strike 2, by just bringing it up.
Yeah.
She didn't get in trouble for the whole Ariane thing.
I mean, although the commercials were very much so implied that was, but in reality, it was just bringing it up, like,
and
hey,
asking the wrong
like,
thing.
don't be dumb by literally. I think he said in a quote, "Get your head out of your ass."
Yeah.
And and I was like, well, I'm gonna go get my head on my ass.
Which was hilarious.
Well, that's what she needed to be told. I think Road Dogg really gave her the lecture that she was in great need of.
And
Agreed?
I think that comes with her age. I always preach that, but also as a learning lesson too.
But I do agree with you in the fact that a very immature where everybody was telling her, like, hey, what you did was kind of messed up, or what you did, kind of relax. And it's like, if everybody's telling you something and you still think that you're right, you're probably wrong.
To quote a Real Housewife, if everyone's saying you're dead, it's time to lie down.
Oh, Heather DeVere.
That is Heather. Yes! OC reunion, season 9. No, 8, 7 maybe.
Don't worry
to
about
Alexis.
it. You won't like it.
we lost our
WWE
wrestling
Total
fans right there.
Divas. Yeah,
Well, once again, I was not surprised that it's Nikki Bella who comes out with the wise words. People always kind of question me, like, why do you like her? It's because of this. She's. I almost just said smart. I think wise is a better word than smart, but she can relate to people, and she is a great leader. We even saw her in that conversation with Eva handled herself well. Like, she sort of speaks for these ladies, and she's in the position to do that.
And for someone who is the champion, that's something that I would look for in a leader. In someone like that.
Yeah, everyone kind of
was
keeps
nice
getting
to see
on
her.
her
Yep.
that Cena is the reason why she keeps holding that title, and we're gonna have an update on that story for you in just a few minutes. But she's got the what's the mentality? Locker room mentality. Yes?
Sure.
Yes. That's a real thing they talk about in wrestling. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of Nikki, she was involved in another storyline this evening with Brie and Brian. And like we said at the top of the show, I think we saw a different side of Daniel Bryan. We haven't seen this side of him before. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Before we get into this, can we talk about the tattoos?
Yeah.
And the laser removal? Because, listen... For those who maybe do or don't know, I don't know if you guys know, Brie has a huge tattoo. What do you call
I think
this
it's
region?
two different tattoos on her.
In her, it's
area.
like, yes,
Her pelvic
in her
area.
very lower, her whole entire like
stomach?
pelvic bones, yes, is covered with some kind of like
It's a bird or something.
tribally
No?
looking, like very black and bold, like super ugly kind of trampy. I can say that.
Which we've
people,
all seen, like just glimpse of it while her wrestling or
Yeah.
on Total Divas or whatever. But if it wasn't for this episode, I would have never known she had a fairy on her ass.
we didn't know about those.
But it's funny because she's sitting there, she's saying, well, I'm going to be a mother soon, so I don't want, I want to be able to set a good example. First off, if you don't show them that, they'll probably never know. And I can say right now, I've never seen my mother's ass, okay?
It could have a big old fairy and a heart on fire.
It could,
But
so
what didn't you ask? Hey, Mom, do you have a tattoo?
I've never asked her that.
I would be curious if my parents.
Do you
had
think that
tattoos.
she does?
I don't know. Maybe, I'm going to guess no. But for the most part, like I said, I just thought it was weird that she would take care of the butt tattoo and not the pelvic tattoo.
Agreed. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, if you're going to detramp it, detramp the right
She was
stamp
probably
first.
drunk.
Probably.
They were 15.
Nikki
Oh,
got
the other
tattoos,
one?
though.
Yeah. Yeah, well, either way, I've always been surprised that it was Brie who kind of has had this ink. You would sort of think Nikki would be the one. And we did see Nikki's heart on fire a few days ago in an
we did.
Instagram shot. I think she was finally comfortable with, like, sharing it now that they were going to put it on this. But anyway,
Do you
I could
guys
not
have
let that get
tattoos?
by. I would not be dropping tramp stamp bombs and accusing other
doesn't
people
have to be a
if I
tramp
didn't have a
stamp.
big old
It doesn't
butterfly
have to
on
be
my
a
lower
tramp
back.
stamp.
I would not be
You can
throwing
get,
any
like, your husband's
stones in my
name,
glass
like-
house. Wait, I mean, I am throwing stones because my glass house is already down too, so it's fine.
You would never get one.
Those were terrible analogies. No, I would, and I do, and I have a few. And
How many?
A small number. A few.
Like under 10?
yeah. Oh yeah. Like under 5.
Under 5?
Yeah.
Big, little names.
Mediums.
Give us something juicy. Come on. What are they?
How
Were you
long? I'm
drunk?
like, okay, we're 30 minutes in. Are my parents still
We
watching?
got like an hour left.
Listen, there are none that are going to be removed anytime soon. Okay, but
What about you? What about you?
yeah.
I have one.
Do you? What is
I
it?
do. It's a quote that I have on my back. I have a scar there, and it's a quote that says, "It's a beautiful fight." I got for my 25th birthday.
See, that is so cool,
I
and
had
that's
to
why I
think
will not
about
tell
it.
you guys about any of my tattoos because they are cheeseball and they are not cool like that.
I had to think about it. It took a long while, but I mean, I'm happy with it. I love it.
I got
My mom
as
was
many
mad.
tattoos as John Cena has.
None.
Big fat Zippo Zero.
Lame. Man up, George.
For now.
Come on.
See, I'll get something BA.
BA.
Badass. Come on.
I guess I'm not really a badass because I should have known
Didn't even
that.
know what BA
I
was.
didn't even know what that was.
Oh,
BA,
boy.
BA MF.
This
Then
whole,
don't make me spell
fun
that one
little
out for you.
scene.
this whole clothing debacle that Brian and Brie were having is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, I am a fan of Brie's style. I stalk her Instagram. I stalk where she shops. I love it. I buy similar style clothing. I mean, I don't or get picked up or anything like that or to look elsewhere. She's dressing because she's got it. She should be allowed to do that. So to throw out those clothes, I will buy them. Tell me where they are. I want them.
Well, you picked the right twin style to bite because, like, I would love to dress like Nikki, but that's not happening anytime soon unless Cena wants to buy me some Louboutins. Okay, so yeah, but you made a good point, and we again, like I said, I didn't know that. I didn't like this side to Daniel Bryan.
A lot of people
And we didn't
on the
know
chat
that.
are
What are they
agreeing.
saying?
They're saying, let's see. Mons, I hope I pronounced this right.
That's
Sorry.
Marcus. Oh, I
No,
know,
no,
right
no.
over that.
Montserrat Uralden.
You're Alden?
Uralden. I did not like Brian in this episode. Joseph Boza, I didn't either. I do as a wrestler, judging him on Total Divas.
I will say this, that I see where Daniel Bryan's coming from, because if I recall, Brie Bella had like a nip slip like 2 years ago.
It happens.
See, I
It's
didn't
not on
remember that. I
purpose.
remember Nikki's
You
nip
would
slip
remember
from
that.
not too long
See, I
ago.
remember Brie. It was like when they were promoting when Total Divas first came out, and Jerry Lawler was interviewing like everybody, and then Eva Marie gave him this weird slap.
They were all sitting up on the stage in
Yeah.
like pretty
No,
outfits.
it
Okay,
was in the ring.
That was Nikki.
They were
Yeah,
in the
they were
ring.
sitting in the ring in pretty outfits. That was Nikki, darling.
Well, maybe her too, but I know Brie.
But
I
it
know for a fact
happens.
Brie had one.
It happens.
as well.
And I know
Okay.
John and Nikki are not married, but they've been together for a while. But you don't see John complaining about Nikki. John's attracted to it. He loves it.
I mean, we're not complaining about the attractiveness for the Bellas.
No, of course not. But John doesn't seem to have a problem with Nikki showing off a little bit. And she shows a lot of side boob.
Yeah, I mean.
She shows a lot of top boob,
But
a
I
lot
mean,
of under boob.
yeah.
and I think it's been shown that obviously Brian is a little bit more conservative in his lifestyle as well. So
He is, but I don't think she's going over the top.
at the same time, though, I think, and obviously with anything, I think there's the key word is compromise.
Right, but
That
he
was
sort
not
of
a fair
being
fight.
like
The
controlling.
the toilet and clothes were not a fair fight at all.
No, not at all. But it just in the sense of the thing at the beginning, like he was sort of showing like this kind of controlling, and the way that he spoke to her about it was not, darling, I love you, and I feel that this body is only for me to enjoy, which I do so very much. It was condescending and it was mean, kind of in the way that I'm like, oh, you want to be showing all that? Well, what kind of person are you? Well, you want to be like Nikki? I mean, the whole approach on it. I mean, I know he's going through a lot right now, and he's got a lot of time on his hands to sit at home and probably not be too happy. And I wonder if this was maybe a catalyst somehow of that, because we haven't seen him. He was being immature too, kind of Paige style immature. And for it to go where it went at the end of the episode with this toilet, which we're gonna
really
probably
gross.
have to talk a little bit more about this toilet. I mean, I thought about this and then I wrote it down because I thought it was really funny. It sort of became tit for shat to Daniel Bryan, right? She's
Yeah.
showing nipples, so he's gonna get this compost. You guys didn't laugh or blink or any. Come on, tit for shat? That's funny. All right.
Isn't it tit for tat?
All right. Yeah, well, yes, but in this
Hence the
in
pun
this
of the-
Got it.
situation, all right.
It registered.
Never mind.
She registered, but she still didn't
A
laugh.
for effort. A for effort.
Thank you,
A for
George.
effort.
What do you think about the compost
I'll
toilet?
give you a B+ for effort. But first off, I don't even know what a compost toilet is. I'm thinking, like, what does this do? Like, where are you going to put it? I guess it goes outside somewhere?
Brie
Oh, is that why they were keeping it outside? It's supposed to stay outside.
I guess.
Because maybe it all
I
just stays in there? Is that why it looked like it was built from styrofoam?
I don't know. It looked weird.
Brie has a green thumb, but I don't think she's that green. Just saying.
But yeah,
Just don't want to have a brown thumb in the garden.
Yeah, he is so green. Like, we get it, dude.
No, I
He's
think
so
he did
green,
it
yet
to
he
make a
refuses to be
point.
vegan and makes up some kind of soy
He did
allergy
it
thing, which
to
is
make
so
a point.
BS.
I don't know.
And now that
No.
you have time to sit at home and you got time on your hands, you can find some soy-free alternatives to being vegan, and then you don't have to have a compost toilet.
I like the way you moved your neck right there. Very, like, Italian or something.
That was a little bit self-righteous. You know what? I'm going to jump down off my soapbox now
At the
before the
end-
Daniel Bryan fans maim me.
At the end of the day, Brie, wear whatever you want.
Yeah, do
you
you-
work out, you got money.
I will say this, though, and while, I do love me a woman that, shows off some skin, don't get me wrong. Dude, I'm going to say this. When Brie was putting on, like, the little denim thing, whatever she had, she looked sexy as hell, dude. Like, I'm not gonna like. I like that look. Like, I like that, like, very, like, use your imagination look, because I'm not really showing off much, but still classy. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying what Nikki
He's like,
doesn't wear-
Nikki, don't cover yourself up,
I'm
girl.
not saying
That's
what
not
Nikki
what I'm
doesn't wear is
saying.
classy, but honestly, like, when she does wear a little less revealing, it is kind of a little. What's the word
It's
I'm
not
looking
like
for?
she does it every day.
It's like kind of more like enticing or something.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, straight from a man's mouth, y'all.
I dig it. I dig it.
You don't have to have it all hanging
And
out.
I think that's one of the. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think Brie is more attractive than Nikki.
You do say that
Just
all
the
the
way,
time.
just the way she dresses as well. And again, I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will stare Nikki up and
He
down.
won't turn you down, Nikki.
Exactly. But like I said, it's just little things like that.
Well,
but
I
that's just
did-
me. That's just me personally.
I did love her little moment where she was like, I went to this, I went and got coffee in this crop. That wasn't even a crop top. That was
she
just
got 3
basically
dirty
a bra
looks,
top.
and she said,
she
I
got
don't
3
care
dirty
because
looks?
I like it.
That's right. And I said, you know what? Amen.
Yep.
Amen, Nikki. Anything else you'd like to add about the compost toilet? We got to see Mama Bella again, who we love.
I like
do like
JJ.
her.
I like JJ.
Gigi's
You
just
do like
awkward. I don't want
JJ.
to talk about my sister's boobs.
And by the way, did you spell poo on the board? P-O-O-H?
I did.
Like
I
Winnie
believe
the
that
Pooh.
is the correct way of
No,
spelling
that's-
poo.
that's
it's
a bear.
P-O-O.
Let's look it up.
You're thinking Winnie the
You know
Pooh.
what? Our folks in the chat, I feel like, can weigh in on that one.
And plus, by the way,
Jobo, what do you think?
And I do think that because we all know that Daniel Bryan isn't really a fan of being on reality TV, I think he's like, well, if I'm going to be on this reality TV show, my storyline is going to be about poop.
You know what's funny?
Like it's like
I just read that in the chat that
like it's a
he just said
protest.
that it was for the cameras. Huh? That he chose to do the whole compost toilet thing for the cameras.
Listen, if it's to the point where the storyline is so manufactured,
and Bryan could have been starting stuff for the cameras.
When you guys can see through it, it's time to move on. Anything else you'd like to add, folks? Speaking of moving on, I would like to hit these fans up. All right. Maybe I was talking about Winnie, the little yellow bear. On that note, let's move on to some news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
Dun, 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 dun. I love that little noise. I in fact don't do news reports unless that noise is flowing. So actually this has been a crazy, insane week of WWE news, a lot of which isn't quite related to Total Divas, so I'll let you all search for that online. But there are some major stories about these ladies that we love, and one of them broke today. We saw Tamina Snuka, not this week, but we've seen her several times on the show, and today her father, who is a highly respected wrestler and a WWE Hall of Famer, was arrested on charges of third-degree murder, which stemmed from the 1983 death, that's over 30 years ago, you guys, of his girlfriend. He had one story when it happened, and he was let off the hook. And he had another story that he put in his autobiography, which was released recently. And so now he has been arrested. He has since already.
That's how he got in trouble?
That's how he got in trouble.
What was the first story?
The first story was that he said that this woman fell or something. Or that he said that they were playing around and he pushed her, but they were playing around, and then she fell.
Because that was weird, because I think they saw bruises.
Bruises, her body was covered in bruises.
Yeah.
Yes, and then his story in the autobiography was that she just fell down in a gas station restroom. So, conflicting stories, and he has since posted bail, but this may or may not affect Tamina, who was actually 5 at the time that this happened.
Tamina, who was on last week's episode of Total Divas, ready to fight some little Asian guy.
Yes,
if anybody remembers
that's
Tamina.
right. Or she's Trinity's like cousin-in-law or something. So not the only craziness that went down this week, though. Actually, there was an obsessive fan at the Performance Center yesterday who was there to see Lita or AJ Lee, they kind of think, but you know, these divas reach a lot of people. And this guy is a crazed fan. He's been to the Performance Center several times. He was making threats yesterday, and a sheriff's deputy on the scene actually had to shoot him because he ran at the cops. He has admitted to having some mental issues. He wants to be a wrestler. He has a, what do they call that thing where you can't come around?
Restraining order?
Yes. He has a restraining order against him by the WWE, and so he's alive. But, you know, these divas gotta be careful for these crazy fans. And speaking of, well, no, that's not on my list because I decided it didn't.
Girlfriend?
Yeah, she's at the bottom. The home wrecking racist. So if you saw headlines this week that a diva was fired, do not be alarmed. It is none of your Total Divas. It's none of the NXT. Well, I guess she was an NXT diva.
She
but
just debuted
it's a young lady that you don't need to know about, and you definitely don't need to hear about her now. So don't worry about those headlines, folks. Move on to the more interesting ones, like the fact that Renee Young's boyfriend was attacked by a knife-wielding fan during a live event
I hate those
over the
words.
weekend.
Renee Young's boyfriend.
I said it. I said it.
And plus, by the way, I think, I guess we'll get it in a little bit, but it looks like I finally get to see Renee Young in a bikini on next week's episode of Total Divas.
Typical guy right here. One of
I
a
can't
kind,
wait.
ladies. One of a kind.
Anyway, I know
I
that
am
last week we delivered a story regarding John Cena and how he has been sort of championing for Nikki to keep the championship belt behind the scenes. This really fired up our viewers. There were a lot of comments on YouTube about it. You guys weighed in. You pretty much, for the most part, said you believe that that's happening and you think it's crap. And I have a little bit of an update this week. Now, Dave Meltzer, who is a highly respected wrestling journalist, he really knows what he's talking about, and it takes a lot for me to say that about another journalist. You all know that. He confirmed that Cena is why Nikki has continued to keep the title for so long. He doesn't know about this current rumor that's right now the one I reported on last week that said that Cena prevented Charlotte from getting the title over Nikki recently. But he said that in the past, Cena has definitely spoken up and gone to Vince when Nikki was supposed to lose the title.
I think
So
Nikki
it
tweeted
definitely
something,
has
though.
happened. That's my next story. Nikki's response to all of this is, of course, she had a little tweet and she said, quote, "When you are succeeding, everyone will talk about you and your success, good or bad. Don't believe everything you read."
I will say this, though, and I've obviously been watching wrestling a really long time, that everybody seems to kind of try to bring you down once you get to top. I remember back in 2000, a wrestler by the name of Kurt Angle, everybody loved, and then he got the world belt, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, he's not ready, or he's not that good." And it's just funny. I was like, "Well, where was this like a week ago before
Well,
he
we've
was
seen
the
it
champion?"
happen with the divas, with Eva Marie and with Ariane, and
It's just so weird. I mean, I'm just gonna choose not to believe it because I don't want to think negatively like that. Not to say that I think that Nikki deserves to be the champion this whole time, but I just don't want to believe it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I totally see where Nikki's coming from as well. Like, you know, she's on the top, so obviously once you're on the top, there's no one else but you just have no choice but to look up and maybe talk smack about her or just make up stories, or and based on what we've seen before, something so small and such an insignificant comment could turn into so big that just so irrelevant, and I don't know. Like I said, I just choose not to believe it.
well, we definitely want to know what you guys think. So please post your comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, on iTunes, please do the same. You can always tweet along with us. It's hashtag ABTV Total Divas, and then we will read your tweet on the air. And now I want to move on to something that is definitely not news. It's just a guess/rumor that I'm just going to freaking put out there so that when it happens, I can say that I told you also. So you all know that I'm a big fan of Tough Enough, and I broke down this last season with George over here and some other people on AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. And Amanda, the runner-up from Tough Enough, was actually photographed backstage on Monday with Eva Marie, Rosa, Mendez, and Natty, who, if you may know, are all cast members of Total Divas. And there's absolutely no other reason for Amanda to be there. Tough Enough has wrapped. She was back home this weekend. She had been sent home by all rights and purposes. We have not heard that she's been picked up, but it seems to me they are still shooting for Total Divas. Natty herself tweeted that tonight and said they were filming her watching the show. So they are still filming, and I will not be surprised when we see Amanda on the second half of this Total Divas season.
And why is
you
she-
heard it here first, people.
Why is she so horrible?
Well, according to her, she was playing a character during Tough Enough.
First
but
off, that was my theory.
She said it also. And she was just very, how would you describe her behavior during Tough Enough?
Bitch.
Okay.
We don't like
There
to
you
use
are.
that word on this show.
Catty.
Those are her words, not mine.
Yes,
But-
she was catty and mean.
Okay.
But
Yes.
my whole thing was like, I think that mid-season during Tough Enough, they tried to play up the Paige Amanda kind of butting heads a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, when Amanda does join Tough Enough, or the first half of Tough Enough,
You mean Total Divas?
sure, Total Divas. When Amanda does join Total Divas next year, there's like a built-in storyline from Tough Enough that's going to lead into Total Divas. Hence why Amanda, who was, I guess, sent home last week, obviously because the show ended, but it was photographed in Connecticut, of all places, a few days ago. Now she was in Raw, which was in Tampa, backstage with that. So I think that my gut says that, yeah, Amanda's going to be she's going to go from runner-up to Total Divas, and she's going to have already a built-in storyline with Paige and kind of a
Yep.
built-in feud for the next season of Tough Enough.
I think they see
Total
this,
Divas.
the second coming of Eva Marie in her. Doesn't Amanda
I
have a
think more
very
Summer-
Eva Marie
Summer
kind of an
Rae-ish.
attitude?
Because Summer Rae was never really portrayed really good on the show.
Oh, that's an understatement.
So I
We're
think-
still hating on that girl.
So I think that Amanda's going to fill that blonde, blanky
Character?
word, since we can't say that word
Not
apparently
nice,
on the,
not nice
on the
lady.
show. So that's just my theory that I think that, and I even texted Daria and be like, hey, what do you think? She's like, well, I don't know. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good theory. So I'm saying it
Confirming.
because either it's going to happen and I'm going to be like, I told you so, or it's not going to happen because I said it was going to happen.
We told you so. I brought this entire. We did have a conversation
How
before the
dare
show,
you.
but I brought it
How
up
dare
first.
you.
we worked it out together.
And for all you Total Diva fans like moi, we will make that judgment when she is actually on the show.
Yes.
So I know what you guys are talking about.
And then we're gonna make you go back and watch this season of Tough Enough.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
All right,
Everyone's
well,
saying
guys,
she's awful.
do you all? Oh wow, they agree, huh? Well, do you all have any predictions for next week?
I think
we got way ahead of ourselves
I
there,
think
but
you
let's
guys
just
just
talk
hit
about
them,
next week.
actually.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Feels like Twilight in here.
Well, you know, we saw this brand new side to Daniel Bryan that we've never seen before. I'm
not
wondering
like.
if we're going to see a different side to Nikki that we've never seen before. I can't wait to hear what this is all about. She's talking about therapy. She's talking about being in a bad place. I can't think of anything that's happened in the last few months in her personal life that we know about that would have sent her into any kind of tailspin. I am so deathly curious about this. And I feel like whatever it is, it's just going to kind of make me love her more.
I love Nikki.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was obviously filmed a while ago, but she seems better now, I guess. I have no idea.
I think they're just planting the small seeds because at the end of the mid-season finale, it's all going to lead into the whole Dolph Ziggler storyline. I think that's where the season finale is going to, or whatever finale is going to end, whatever mid-season finale is going to end. It's going to be Nikki having to choose between Cena and Ziggler, which we all know who she ends up choosing because we all see it on Instagram.
Yes, we've only been talking about that.
Which, by the way, based on Instagram, it looks like Dolph Ziggler and Lana are like canoodling it up all the time.
Well,
Is this storyline or not a storyline?
we
We'll
will
find out next
definitely
week.
be here next week to chat about it. And you guys can all follow me on all the platforms at Christy Reports. And please also check out ChristyReports.com. My YouTube page is like 4,000 away from 1 million. So if you would just go watch some videos, I would really appreciate it.
Well, first things first is I want to continue plugging the Young Bucks
Yeah,
Too
go
Sweet
get it.
Journey, which I have it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I can't wait to watch it. I'm not even joking. I'm not even saying this.
Tell them
just
again
say
where to get it.
Highspots.com. You can download it. You can order the DVD. I suggest ordering the DVD because, quite frankly, how would you not want to add this to your collection? It really is a
looks
good
pretty.
collection.
It's Total Divas colors.
It would go great with my Hardy Boys DVD, actually. But you can follow me at Hermoza, George Hermoza, on Facebook, MySpace. On Instagram, you can do a Hermoza, GHERMOZA on Twitter and on Instagram. Hashtag the 400 followers.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at _ Paulina Aguilar and find me on Instagram at Paulina M. Aguilar.
Thank you so much for joining us. We love chatting with you guys. We will see you next week for more Total Divas. Bye-bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.